Alright, so a couple nights ago the season finale for season 3 of Orphan Black aired, and I have to talk about it because this show is incredible. So you can't say anything about the show until you give a round of applause to the lead actress. If I mispronounce her name, I'm sorry. Tatiana Maslany, I think is how you say it, who plays at least 4 of the lead main characters, which is incredible. So this girl must work so hard, and all I've heard about her from like castmates talking about her and people talking about her is that she's incredibly nice and incredibly devoted, and a great person to work with. So all the props in the world go to her, and congrats on season 3 to her, which she'll never see this, but if she does, congrats to her. So all of the characters that she plays are incredibly interesting. Even it's shocking every time I watch this show that the like normal soccer mom character is one of the most interesting characters on TV. When this season started, I was a little bit concerned because there was this new caster storyline. There's these new male clones that they brought into the story, and we're already dealing with the Proletheans and the Lita clones, and I felt like the show was going to get too wrapped up in these different storylines of different science groups and different military groups and religious groups when all I wanted to watch really was Tatiana acting. I could literally watch hours of just the different clones in a room together. And also, not to not mention the rest of the cast, the supporting cast and the other leads are incredible as well. The guy that plays Felix is an incredible actor. The first time I heard him talk in an interview when he wasn't talking as Felix, I was shocked by what his actual voice sounds like. He does not talk like that, and I feel like his personality is probably pretty far from Felix's, but he kills it in that part. Super, super fun to watch. One thing I would say about this season, we get some really great moments with him, but I wish there were more. I always wish we could see more of him. I thought these storylines were going to get a little bit too twisted. I thought it was going to be too much focus on these like organizations that I personally am not as interested in as just the character development, but they actually dealt with it really well. They used these storylines as a way to develop the characters. You can watch this show and not really like the storylines, but still get a lot of enjoyment out of it because the characters are so interesting. The amount of work that must go into this show is incredible. There's so many interactions between the clones, and that just must take so much work. There's usually a scene at the end of the season finale where all of the clones are in a room together, and just the fact that those exist are incredible feats. There's 4 versions of the same girl, all talking and all interacting with other people and sometimes themselves in the same room. Just for the sake of that alone, if you're not watching the show, you really should be. It's so technically incredible. Every single character is really, really interesting. All of the individual stories, and there's a lot of them because there's 4 really main clones, and then 2 others that were also prominent in this season, but I'd say Cosima, who I love, 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 love. She's so fun to watch, and her love stories this season were really interesting. It was totally different from the science and the kidnappings and all of the military stuff that was happening in like Sarah and Helena's life, them being 2 of the other 4 main clones. Sarah is super, super fun to watch, as she was last season, and Helena is just as crazy and just as kind of frightening. She kills a guy by stabbing his head with a screwdriver, and she's very scary, and it's totally believable that that's something that that character would do. That's just how well it's written and played. Allison is the last like main clone, who's just like superficially it would seem like her life would be the most boring out of all of the clones, but I literally found myself watching episodes and being like, when are they going to get back to Allison? Like, I want to see how Allison's doing. I want to see if she's going to win in her race for student board, or whatever she was running for. To Tatiana's credit, every character is so different. You can completely forget that you're watching the same girl as multiple characters. They walk differently, they talk differently, they act differently, and there's never, it's to the degree where you can tell if it's one clone pretending to be another clone. You can watch Tatiana Maslany as one of these characters saying a line, and you can tell if it's Rachel pretending to be Sarah, because it's not perfect Rachel, it's Sarah's interpretation of Rachel. This season we got a new clone. We got kind of a, I don't want to call her ditzy, but she kind of comes off as ditzy, although she's quite smart. It just kind of takes some looking to realize how smart she is. And she's a manicurist, and I gotta say, hands down, my favorite scene of the season was just watching Felix and this new clone interacting, because it was such a new way to see these two actors. Their storylines are always so like dark and serious recently, and seeing them act like these like bubbly like airhead type characters was so funny. The guy that plays Felix, Jordan Gervais, I think, was pretty much using his normal accent, like the way he speaks in real life, because his accent for Felix is quite different from that, and it was interesting to see him get to do that on the show. Okay, so I guess we got to talk about Delphine. Delphine was a little bit crazy this season. She steps up into Rachel's place running Dyad. She tries to do her best for the clones. She tries to do her best for Cosima, especially because of their relationship, and she takes it a little bit too far. She attacks Cosima's girlfriend because she's under suspicion for spreading secrets to Castor, and it turns out she didn't do it, but she got really scary with her interrogation techniques, and then she gets shot in one of the last episodes of the season. Now, we've seen people get shot, we've seen people get bars stuck through them, we've seen people get pencils stuck through their eyes, and they've survived, so I'm not gonna say she's dead yet. She might be gone. I'd be really sad. I feel like they kind of weaned us off of her. Her and Paul were both not featured this season as much as they had in past seasons, which makes me think maybe they are on their way out. Paul died this season. He exploded. He pulled a grenade and died, and if he had died in season 1, that probably would have hit me a bit more, but we'd had a lot of time this season where he wasn't really a key player. So his death definitely had a large impact on Sarah, and they were very clear about that, but me personally, I didn't care as much, especially with all the switching back and forth, what side was he on type stuff going on. I didn't really trust him, and I didn't know what to do with him. Allison and Donnie are drug dealers now. That's hilarious. In summary, this season was so fun to watch, but it's also really, really scary at points. It can get pretty gory, but there's also a lot of humor and a lot of lightheartedness in it. There's a lot of things where there's like pure joy when you see a clone playing another clone. It's just so exciting, especially when it's not like a life or death situation, when it's just like they're covering for each other for something. I'm super excitedly looking forward to season 4. It can't come soon enough. If you haven't seen any of the seasons, if you haven't seen any of the show, go watch it, go catch up. It's so worth the watch. There's only like 30 episodes or something because they're pretty short seasons. It's a BBC America show, so they're not running like 24, 22 episode seasons. Even just for the sake of supporting the creation of something so difficult and unique, go out and see this show. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a few days. Bye! That was stupid. I'm not in focus. There's not like a portion, that's kind of